Bienvenidos a Che Wey. Yo soy Chio de México.
Y yo, Jessica de Argentina. Y estamos aquí para mezclar nuestras culturas y hablarles de cosas interesantes.
O experiencias y aventuras divertidas nuestras y de nuestros invitados. Así como también distraerlos un poco de lo que sea que estén haciendo.
Quédate con nosotros en el siguiente episodio.
Hola, hola.
Hola, hola.
¿Listos?
Hola, hola.
Yeah.
Hola, hola.
Are we sailing already?
I think so.
Bienvenidos a nuestro episodio...
In English.
In English. Everything?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is going to be...
English.
Yeah,
Okay.
English.
Well, for people who wants to learn Spanish.
¿Pero por qué?
¿Pero por qué exacto, David?
No
Okay,
entiendo.
Okay, let's do it in Spanish.
Okay. No, please, por favor.
Bueno, okay, well, as you can see, we have a guest tonight. A special guest. His name is David.
Yes, yes.
David
McGregor.
McGregor.
Oh,
David.
so fancy.
David McGregorio.
Ooh,
Gregorio.
I like that even better.
That's nice.
Yeah, McGregory.
So he's a captain, and we're gonna ask him a lot of questions about sailing and stuff, and about crazy things that he has done. And he's a captain, like a truly captain, like a real captain, not like we did with Captain Rob on the past podcast. If you listen to the other English podcast, he wasn't a captain.
He was a fake captain.
I'm the real deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, here David is gonna really talk us about how to be a captain and how it is to be a captain and I don't know, all the things that we really are curious about.
Yeah, I mean, we have like 1,000 questions, right? we haven't all day writing down the questions that we're gonna
They
ask.
have blank pages. Let's be very clear about that. We don't know where this is going.
Okay, well, let's just say something. Last time we did English podcast, I think we were just doing tests and how it's going to be. With Rob was kind of like we were practicing. At the end, it turned out that it was not that bad, and then we posted.
He was actually passing by, and we told him to sit down.
It was like, Rob, come, we need a guest. And then he's like, what? And then we were like, just tell us about Thanksgiving.
Something, yeah.
And then he started. So right now, actually, is the first time we are interviewing in English.
Yes.
So honored.
So this is not a test?
This is not a test.
Okay.
This is not a test.
This is not a test. This is really the real shit.
Okay, got it. So welcome, David, and thank you for accepting this offer. We booked him. He came from San Diego,
yes. San Francisco I'm from, but came from San Diego.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
Just to do this podcast.
And Jess and I have known each other for quite a long time.
Yeah, long time. Like 36 hours.
36 hours. We met at the beach club.
That's the way to do the thing. Perfect. Cheers for that.
Anyway, if you want to know David, we're recording this in YouTube, so you can see his blue eyes and pretty face, pinky face. Anyway,
he has a very beautiful tan right now.
We're going to start with the questions because he's a very busy person and he had to go sail some boats.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
So how long you been sailing?
Well, I'm 34 now. I started sailing when I was 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And it was one of those things, when something just clicks?
Yeah.
And I was 6 years old, and most people don't have things click when they're 6 years old.
Well, I have click playing with dirt and water. I'm super pro with
mud.
Exactly.
With mud. I always do that. I think maybe that's my thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, I found my thing apparently very quickly, maybe prematurely.
You're just humiliating us. I start sailing at 6 years old.
Yeah, and at 6 I didn't do anything important. I mean,
I was eating dirt, but okay.
I was basically a child celebrity.
Okay, but tell me, your family had boats and you got to go to, because we're
Nothing.
poor.
So we went on vacation to St. John in U.S. Virgin Islands, sort of near Puerto Rico, and we went on a 3-hour sail at Gilligan's Island.
Wow. Okay.
And I was just enamored.
Oh.
I I want this all the time.
Wow.
This is everything in my life. And I became completely obsessed.
And your parents said, like, no, you have to be an accountant and a lawyer.
My dad was all about it.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
And so, like, we went on the 3-hour sail, and then we got back to New York, where I grew up, and we joined a sailing club. And he just said, you know, if you love boats, then great. And encouraged it. And so I started going to sailing camp. And then when I was 12 years old, I found a boat in abandoned in a parking lot.
No.
And so maybe I was 11 years old. I was young. I still had an imagination, right?
I still didn't do anything important at 11.
Yeah, I found like, I don't know, a piece of wood abandoned
Maybe
there. Like
a coin.
But you
not
had
a boat abandoned.
But you had friends, right?
Yeah.
When you were 11, you had friends?
My
a lot.
invisible friends.
Imaginary.
Well, okay.
I was very social with them.
That's maybe worse. 'Cause I had a dog. My best friend was my dog.
It's nice. It's nice. Okay, so you got this boat, you found it, and you went to say to your dad, "Hey, I found this boat." But are you sure it wasn't someone's boat?
It was definitely someone's boat. But I would go down and I would, like, in the summers, I would like take the water out of it, and in the winter I would take the snow off of it, and for like a year I would do this, and I would like play in it. You know, it'd be like a toy sort of.
Totally.
Okay.
That sounds great.
It was a great toy.
Yeah.
It eventually became a very expensive toy.
Exactly.
Okay, but was it on the float? Was it floating?
No,
somewhere?
it was like on a trailer with wheels in a parking lot with no other boats. She's like, it was like very much abandoned. Nobody wanted it, and it had been there for about a year. And my father started asking around and finally found out who owned it, and he said, "Oh, my son loves playing in your boat. Like, why is it in the parking lot?" And he said, "Well, because I don't want it."
Okay.
And then I was like, "Dad, can I have it?" My dad asked him, and then I had a little boat.
Oh my God.
And I named it after my dog. So it was Taylor 2.
Oh.
Okay. Nice. That's nice. So you took the boat to some port, or how do you? It was okay for sailing?
Not yet. So my dad and we worked on it, and I make it sound like my dad is like the greatest guy in the world. He's not.
I want your dad.
He's not. Let's be very clear. At this time in my life, we thought he was very nice guy. I hope you don't hear this, Father. Didn't turn out to be the best father, but he did encourage sailing.
Okay, that's good. I mean, we have to appreciate what he did.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not perfect
The one
either.
thing that he did.
Are you perfect?
Of course. Come on. Look at this.
Mexicans, well, and Argentinians.
Yeah.
Argentinian, American, and Mexican.
Yeah.
That could be the name of a podcast in and of itself.
Oh yes.
A Mexican, an Argentinian, and an American walk into a bar.
Yeah, it's like a joke.
No,
okay.
no,
I will be the one that dies first on a movie, you know.
I'm sure.
Anyway.
Not in that hat. You would survive.
Okay.
Well, in an American movie, no, Americans always were gonna win. And then
exactly. They're gonna say.
I'm so sorry about that. You're right. We are so pretentious.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
and then Americans survive and save the world. It's like, and everybody starts clapping. And then, I cry.
It was really sad. We'll get back to the sailboat. But today I was, last night at the at El Ganzo, we met some Mexicans who were here from Mexico City, I think. And they said, we're never getting the vaccine. It's going to take 100 years to vaccinate Mexico. But we don't care as long as Americans and Canadians get the vaccine so they come back here for tourism. And it was like, oh, man, like, I am so sorry that's the case. Like, you deserve vaccines just as much as us. That is not okay.
Yeah. Not okay at all.
It's
But if you get the vaccine, you're going to come here, like, without the sickness, so that's nice.
A little bit better, but, like,
it's like,
I want you to have the vaccine, too, because you're married to a gringo, actually, who has a pre-existing condition, legal. And you just, and you guys, you need vaccines.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm
going to fight for my rights.
One life isn't more valuable than another life, from my perspective. Maybe you disagree.
No.
Okay.
I totally agree.
So, in a boat, like, you're all sailing, right? Like, you have to protect all the lives, right?
Like in Titanic.
Jack, never let go.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like that captain, how he died with the crew.
Yeah, exactly. Like, have you been in a situation that you felt like fear, like you wanted to save all the rich people on the boat?
No. Well, I never sail with the rich. I don't like to sail with the rich people.
Okay.
So often I sail very expensive boats or motorboats or sailboats, but I don't like to go with the owners of the boats because then who's really in charge? If I'm the captain and there's the owner on board, then or if you own the boat, you're in charge of the boat, which takes away all my power, right? And if I'm hired to keep everybody safe, then how can I do that effectively?
But is that like a judgment that the people says like, okay, I'm hiring a captain because I'm not an expert, and then he gives you the power? It's not supposed to be like
Isn't it like that?
It is, but at the end of the day, who's paying your paycheck, right?
Yeah.
So it's just for me, personal preference.
You had bad experience, you know. Okay.
And then, like, talking about, like, being in charge of the boat and the people on board, like, we always say one specific thing. We say shipmates, self. So first you take care of the boat.
Okay.
Before anything else. Because if you don't take care of the boat, then what?
People die.
Right? Then you take care. So first is ship.
Yeah.
And this is like sort of good for life too, right? So first ship, then shipmates. So the people that's on the boat with you.
The crew members?
The crew members, whoever.
Okay.
The guests, the crew members, whoever, anybody. But really, crew members is the most important. Because like, if I don't take care of the two of you,
who's gonna cook for the rich people?
Who's gonna cook for the rich? Who's gonna cook for me?
Exactly.
So shipmates, you take care of everybody else, and then third, you take care of yourself. Okay. Because if you don't take care of the ship and you don't take care of the people that are with you, you can't take care of yourself. So like, that's like the foundational rule of the sea.
Okay, I see.
And if you do those things, then when you get in those really scary situations, at least like things are in the right place, people are healthy, and you can deal with being really scared and being really dangerous because the ship is in good condition. My crewmates, you two are healthy, you look beautiful, you're well fed, and then like we can deal with the storm or running aground or Colombian drug smugglers dropping packages of cocaine next to the boat.
Pirates.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so
then we can negotiate with them. Like, okay, what's the price for this?
So, you know, I think I told you guys and people that is listening, I work on cruise ships. And before the ship sets sails, you get like instructions for safety. You know, do you do that with your crew?
Well, it depends on the job.
Okay.
So often I like to like take somebody's yacht and bring it from, let's say, New York to Florida. Mm-hmm. And then the people who are with me are my crew who I pay, and I'll give them a safety briefing, but it's sort of different because it's not for guests, it's like for the workers.
Yeah.
If I have guests on board, then yes, I'll do a safety briefing.
Okay.
Yeah. And like our mutual friend Chad, even like when we went sailing yesterday with his business partner, so I'm on a boat right now, a 46-foot catamaran with a guy named Chad, and yesterday we took his business partner. Hi, Chad. We took his business partner out and a client friend and their wives, and he gave a safety briefing, even though it wasn't for like for money or anything like that. So yes, answer is yes. We always do.
You gave it to him. Yeah. Do you use uniform, like a really white uniform?
I just unbutton one more.
Oh, so sexy.
I see. Okay, so let's go back to your childhood.
Yes.
So you got this boat. You fixed it with your father. So how you felt the first time you put it on the water? Orgasm.
I mean, I was a little young for that, I think. maybe just at the age. Maybe I'm 12 or 13, so maybe I had 11. 1 or 2.
But I mean, you fixed that boat with your dad, and then he said, like, okay, let's go and take it to the ocean, like in New York.
Yeah, so we took it in the Hudson River, like just near New York City, near Manhattan.
Like in the Hudson River. Like, oh my God, you start like in the.
Were you going with someone that knew, or only you and your father?
By this point, like I had been to sailing camp,
so
and stuff, so I knew how to sail. It was a small boat, only 17 feet, so like 5-6 meters.
Okay.
And like 6 meters.
Okay, so goes to the water,
and everything went. The first time, like everything went well. The first 10 times, everything went well, and like very quickly, I became a very good sailor. And like, like when like there's certain things in life, and like only some of us are lucky enough. Like, and like unfortunately for me, it's not like finance or like singing. Like I'm a really good sailor, and like always, like it was just easy for me.
Yeah.
And like I quickly became
really natural, like this, like you.
Yeah, I feel better on a boat than I do on land. Like on land, like I have like anxiety and like depression, but when I'm on a boat, like for the last 15 days on this boat, like I felt great. Like it feels like home in the ocean.
Never,
you know?
never sick. Never.
No, definitely
seasick?
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
And that's not nice. That doesn't feel like home. But it's
Yes.
part of it. And like,
Yes.
what's life if you don't have challenges and you don't feel like seasick and you don't feel like shit sometimes in life, whether it's seasick or like challenged in your relationship or whatever, then you can't appreciate the really good things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I want to know, you told us that you were taking boats from point A to point B. What was your best experience? Like, tell us more about the places that you sailed.
Well, okay, so the best one, I told you a little bit.
So we get angry.
Get
jealous.
And this is perfect because you asked me about fear before.
Yes.
And so this trip, it was 3 months, 5,000 miles. And it was the best sail of my life, the scariest sail of my life.
3 months.
3 months
Wow.
on one boat.
Wow.
And we stopped in 3-4 places along the way.
That's not that much. In 3 months, stop in 3 or 4 places, that's...
Yeah. And like, you know, so we went, so the boat was, I don't even know how I got on this boat. I met somebody for literally 10 minutes at a breakfast
Well, it seems
restaurant.
like you're good for that. Like now you just
Duh.
met Jessica 36 hours.
Exactly, and now I'm here. That's what happens though, right?
Yeah. I have a boat.
So I met this guy, and he wasn't even the owner of the boat, and we exchanged numbers. He was also a captain, and we exchanged numbers like quickly at like a breakfast in the British Virgin Islands, Tortola, and then a week.
I went there.
Have you been there?
Yes.
So beautiful, right?
Nice, really nice.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah.
We exchanged numbers and didn't think anything of it. And then he called me like a week later. He said, I just got offered a job to take a boat from Tortola to the south of Chile, but I can't do it. Do you want the job? And I'm 24 or 25 at this time. And I'm like, okay, you know, I guess I'll sail a boat 5,000 miles through the Panama Canal. Like,
But you felt like you could do it?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
You're very capable?
But hold on, where is Tortola?
The Caribbean, no?
yeah, yeah, like the northern part of the Caribbean, like sort of near Puerto Rico, near
Okay.
St. John, like I was talking about before.
Yeah. Okay.
So beautiful, crystal clear water, like a
Yes.
Espiritu Santo,
Oh,
okay.
but like with more palm trees.
Oh wow. Okay.
Really humid.
Very humid and hot.
So you were there.
And I was
from
there.
Okay.
And so, long story short, I took the job, and the guy who hired me, the owner of the boat, he was from Brazil, and he
Okay.
hired me to bring the boat to Chile, and told me that he would pay me $25,000 in cash, 50%
in advance.
In
in
advance.
advance, and 50% when I got the boat there.
And you felt like, weird, but I'm going to do it
Can
anyway
you
because
teach
I'm
me
24.
how to sail a boat?
Well, I was professional. I was a real captain, and like it was okay. And
And
like,
this was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. when
this
you were
was like 10
24.
years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember like I remember I got the job on like December 28th. And then I went out partying on New Year's Eve,
Oh, my
and I woke up. I didn't go to sleep.
Yeah,
I was up
of
all
course,
night,
of
obviously. New Year's Eve in New York. And
24.
I had gone back to New York City for Christmas and for the holidays, so I was in New
okay.
York City, and I got so scared. I was like 8-10 in the morning, and like I had been out partying all night, and all of a sudden it like hit me what I was gonna do, and it was like, oh shit.
And you already say yes. You already say yes.
Yeah, I was flying out like the next day.
Oh my god.
And like I just
God.
had this feeling like I am going to die. Like
Oh my God.
I really had this
Okay,
feeling.
that is like fear.
like
Like, can
gut.
I do this? But
Yeah.
it wasn't real. It was just fear because you didn't
I
die.
almost died
You accept without seeing the boat.
without seeing the boat,
Oh,
without
yeah.
meeting the man
Oh
who
my
owned it,
God.
without seeing the boat.
But you kind of knew which kind of boat, so you can tell if you can sail it.
Yeah, it was the most dangerous boat to ever sail.
Oh my
Okay.
So you were just signing your.
The boat, it was a rental boat for the last 5 years in Tortola. Like in Tortola, it's really popular charter boats.
Yes.
Like it's called bareboat charter. So like you two go down with your, with your boyfriend.
We have a lot of those here.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
And like so the boat got really beat up, and it was not in good condition. It was not safe for this trip. But I was like, $25,000 to sail a boat for 3 months? Well, I thought it was going to take 1 month. It took 3 months. I didn't know it was going to take so long. So I thought like, this is a lot of money. And then it was 3 months, and I was like, not so much money anymore.
Exactly.
Totally.
Okay, so you just sail and you say, okay, like the first month everything went fine, and then start. Like,
Well, I mean, there was problems from the beginning.
Yeah.
okay.
I got in the beginning. The first couple days was great, I got the boat. I sailed from Tortola to St. John. I took all my clothes off.
Which is like
1
kilometer.
I was alone. I sailed naked for the first time.
But you were alone.
Just the first couple days.
Okay.
And you went to pick up your crew? Or?
Yeah, and I went online and to like a sailors forum, and I found like 2 guys who were nearby who wanted to go sailing, knew nothing about them.
Was a request being sexy?
Yes,
you did.
No, I didn't see pictures. They all ended up being very attractive, though.
You asked at the interview, like, what is your experience with relationship?
Oh, actually, so okay, that's really good, actually, because I got the boat. I got these 2 guys. Actually, I brought 4 people on for the first part of the trip because to go through the Panama Canal, you need 5 people minimum
at least
on the boat
on
in order, because there needs to be 1 person driving and then 1 person on 4 different lines going through the Panama Canal. So I brought 2 guys that I already knew and then hired 2 guys. And then the 2 guys that I already knew, they were going to go back to the United States.
So you hired them only to going through the canal? Yeah.
And I didn't even hire them. They just came for fun.
Okay.
The other 2 guys I hired, and I didn't actually even pay them. I just paid for their flights.
Okay.
Because like when you're doing something so cool, like people are willing to do it for free.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, you want to go sailing? I'll pay for your flight if you come and work for free.
I will totally do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Call me.
And it's worth it.
Yeah.
Call me.
Yeah,
call
me too. Please call us.
Anyway, you went through the Panama Channel.
So we get to the Panama Canal, and one of the guys that I hired turned out to be horrible. Okay. Like he was like the expression a bump on a log. Like he was just like boring. He slept all the time. He never like talked. He never had fun. Never laughed. Never interesting conversations. So when we got to the Panama Canal,
drop him out of the boat.
Well, and then we got to the Panama Canal, and he was like drunk all the time and smoking weed. And I was like, okay. And I booked him a flight. And then I was like, hey, I don't even remember his name, Kyle. I was like, hey, Kyle, I booked you a flight. You're fired.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But then I had a problem because I didn't have another person, right? I needed 1 more. So I put another ad on the internet, and this guy named Francis, who I hope you hear
Hi,
this.
Francis.
Yeah?
Francis responds, and he sends me his resume, and he says on the resume, life model or something like that.
Okay.
And so we do is like a Zoom sort of interview, a Skype interview, and I'm like, tell me more about like what's life model. He's like, it's a nude modeling.
Oh my, hired. Oh my God. Hired. Yes. Do you know how to sail? No, but it's okay. You will learn. I will teach you, baby.
At this point, I wasn't like so comfortable with my sexuality, so
okay.
I was like, that excites me, and I am not allowed to admit it.
Exactly. Okay, so you hire him, and then you were going from to the Pacific, right?
Yeah. So he comes to the boat, and then we go to the Pacific together. Turns out he only was a nude model once, and it was for Kate Middleton.
Okay. Oh, wow.
The princess.
Yeah.
Nice.
For some a hen's party, as they call it. He came from England. He flew from England to Panama to join us.
Oh my God, super cool.
Yeah,
that was an really expensive flight that you paid there.
I don't even think I paid for his flight.
He was just
I think he was ready to go. He had just graduated from college, and he was about to start.
Ready to be used.
Nothing happened. He's married with 2 children.
Okay.
No, we never.
Anyway, so you went to the Pacific.
Went to the Pacific, and then we just had a crazy sail down. So much fun. We went from the Panama Canal. We stayed in Panama City for like 3 weeks. Ooh. We went to Las Perlas Islands. Las Perlas? Yeah, Las Perlas Islands, where they filmed the first season of that show, Survivor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like tropical palm trees. Had some crazy nights there. Wow. One night we were on the beach with a campfire and a panga. Came up really fast. And we all stood up and we pulled out our knives. And the guys jump out of the boat and they start running towards us. And we pull out our knives and we start running towards them. And there's nobody on these islands.
Yes, you almost died then.
Well, and like we're running and they're running at us and we're running at them. And they go, tranquilo, tranquilo, tranquilo. And turns out they were going iguana hunting.
Okay.
And that's why they were running, to like get in there and get the iguanas really fast. But we thought they were coming to kill us.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But and then we sailed down.
But like when you said you took too long, the owner told you to get it in 1 month, and you did 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, did he call you sometime? Like, yeah, where are you?
Yeah, he was a little bit. I mean, he was cool. He understood because like the first thing that went wrong, the sail tore.
Yeah.
And we got to Panama Canal, and we went through the Panama Canal, and then I thought like I could buy material to fix it. But in Panama, apparently, it's not the United States, and they don't have the materials. So I had to wait for shipping.
That's weird because there is a lot of boats going through.
Yeah, you would think.
Let's make a business there. Let's make a business.
Exactly. Well, that's a business opportunity. Let's go and
exactly.
Maybe that's our thing. That's how we get our yacht.
Exactly. So anyway, when you went down to the Pacific, you haven't been like at that time. Never to South America. So how the sea there? Is it different? Like it's more rough, all that.
Just as wet as it is here.
Okay.
But like I didn't know. And that was part of what made it so scary a little bit. But like when you're always scared before something. Mm-hmm. You're not scared when you're in something.
Yes. Yeah, because so the adrenaline is working.
Yeah,
your brain is
going up to it, like before the race, before the podcast, you get like a little bit nervous or very nervous, like whatever. But then when you're in it, but like now I'm not nervous. Like I was a little nervous coming here today. I was like, I met this Mexican girl at the club, and now I'm on this podcast. I don't know what's happening.
Maybe they're gonna rob me.
Maybe take my kidneys. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah. Actually, can you go to that room? I
looked for surgical tools.
So you had fear, like what was different in the Pacific?
So in the Pacific, and everybody told me stories like, oh, in the Pacific it's so much bigger.
There's a dragon coming out.
Yeah, the waves are so big, and well, they were, but like it was manageable. You just make it happen,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And like we had some really scary situations. And you asked about fear, and like one thing, and I'm not a religious person. Actually, I'm Jewish. But I'm not religious, and it's confusing because it's David McGregor. McGregor is Protestant, my father. David is from my mother. Mm-hmm. My mother is Jewish. And I'm not religious at all. Do I believe in like higher something? Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. But on this trip, we got in the storm that was so big. And so much leading up to it, there's uncomfortable, right? Yeah. And when I was uncomfortable, I wanted my mother. Like, I wanted the comfort of my mother, right? Really? Like, when I was cold or wet or seasick, I wanted my mother. And then we got in one storm that was so big.
In which part of, like,
like, in between Ecuador and Chile.
Okay.
So we were 1,000 miles away from land. So nobody can help you. Okay. Nobody can hear you.
That's a lot. Uh-huh.
And we had a storm with waves, like, 30 to 40 feet.
Oh, my God.
And for 2 days.
No.
And
so 24 hours, 48 hours, you were dealing with this. Mm-hmm. You didn't sleep, you didn't eat, you
nothing.
I probably ate and smoked a lot of cigarettes.
Maybe some fish that crossed by.
Yeah, sometimes the fish would land on the deck. The wave would break, and then you'd look, and there'd be a fish. You're like, oh, hi.
Oh, my
Bienvenido. But in that moment, like in those moments of true fear for my life, is when I, without having any sort of faith in like organized religion or in God, I asked for the help of God. And it was and it was something that like in hindsight, I look back and thought like, when I was cold and wet, I wished for my mother. But when I was scared for my life, I looked for God.
Wow. That sounds like he helped you, right?
Well, he?
Or
just kidding. Whatever, But when you fear for your life, you go to another like
higher,
like something that you can't explain.
Yes.
Because you feel completely out of control. There's nothing left to do except for pray. And that's all I could do at that point,
Okay, so a question. Let's say you're in the middle of the sea. And because, let's say, when I was working on cruise ships, I was working as a print shop. So I had a room, and I had the printing machines, and the printing had to go, like, first time in the morning, you had to get the printing done.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, God, please print.
Please work. Yeah, exactly. Because my machines were really old, and at the end of my contract, like a month before I go and resign, I got really brand new machines. So I was like, fuck no. But yeah, so I was struggling a lot with the pieces, with the, everything, you know. How do you do with the ship? Because a ship have to take you to, you know.
Sometimes you, like, you know, we call it in English, or like maybe in sailing, you call it jury rigging. Like if something breaks, are you asking, like if something breaks, like,
what do you do? Yeah.
So like leading up to the storm, I knew the storm was coming, and like the moment I found out that the storm was coming, something really big on the boat broke actually, and we didn't have the part to fix it. And so for like maybe 12 hours leading up to the storm, I found a piece of stainless steel, and I used a file, and I made the part. I sat there for like 12 hours, like making the part, and you just make it happen.
Exactly.
You don't have a choice.
You just get creative.
You get creative.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like you turn in Mexican. Mexicans just figure it out. Like how? I don't know. They just make something to make it work.
So he's making the part like that, like, ay, 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 ay.
That's exactly what I did.
So in that whole adventure, it was with these guy you mentioned, friends, and all the other crew. The
first like 10 days was with 2 friends and 2 guys, and then fired 1, 2 friends left, and then had from the Panama Canal to the south of Chile was me and 2 other guys.
And they really help you. Like,
well, they've never sailed before.
Okay.
It was our first time.
So useless.
No, basically.
Whoa.
But like, you know what? On a boat, all you really need to do is stay awake.
Yes.
Right? Like that's the most important thing. Like you need to, like one person needs to know what they're doing, and everybody else just needs to stay awake.
Oh my God, I cannot stay awake.
Okay,
I just fall asleep.
So if you were like 5 people and the captain, and when you sleep, who's in charge?
The captain.
No, you're the captain.
I know, and if I'm asleep, I'm still in charge.
Yes.
So on my boat, when I run what they say, like a very tight ship. So the boat that I sailed here on, like the guys were like very like party, drink, fun.
Hi, Chad.
Hi, Chad. I love you. But like, and it was really interesting for me, and that's one of the reasons why I went on this trip, because I've never sailed for fun. I've only sailed for work.
Okay.
And so normally, like for me, I'm very like I'm a real tight ass.
No drinking, no sex.
No drinking, definitely no
you
sex.
You say tight ass.
No drugs. And like that was like, you know, why I fired that guy Kyle, because there was like drinking, like not on the boat, but like still too much for me. Like I'm responsible for this $1 million boat.
Yes.
Like don't mess with this.
Don't puke
Don't puke there.
This is my ass at the end of the day. You know.
Exactly. Totally. Yes.
So I like. I forget where I was going.
So you sailed for fun this last time.
I sailed for fun this last time.
So you were drunk sailing.
So sleeping. But like on my boat, like when I'm the captain, if anything happens, you wake me.
Yes. Okay.
On this boat, like most of us were good sailors. So Chad, who was really at the end of the day in charge because it was sort of his boat, he gave us like permission to make decisions on our own because. Like I had more experience than him, but normally, like when I hire somebody, they have less experience, and I don't.
You gotta tell them what to do.
You tell me if anything happens, you wake me up, and that's why I never sleep, basically.
So the ship is like in automatic, and you're sleeping, like going.
With somebody awake looking.
Okay.
But it's on autopilot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your experiences start like since you were 6 years. You counted.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I have 22 years of experience.
Don't you question me.
Yeah, exactly. Shut up.
But
and get naked like you told me on the CV.
Yeah. That's why I hired you. I want to draw you.
Nobody has more experience than you, people of your age, for sure.
Like Jack draw Rose on the ship.
Exactly. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Put this pearl on your neck.
Oh, what a great movie, though.
Yeah, I love Titanic.
Let's watch it like after this podcast.
I can play violin. You can hire me.
Oh yeah, you can die there like those musicians. Oh my God, I love them.
No problem. Okay, so you told me that you had a time that you were selling like more often. Like how many times a year?
Well, like sometimes every day.
Okay.
So in order to become a captain for my captain's license, I had to have already sailed 720 days.
It's like the pilots on planes, right?
Exactly.
They have to collect like hours and say, oh, now I'm this. Okay.
But how can you get experience if you're not a captain yet?
So then, like, that's like when you are not in charge.
Okay.
So like, I would work for other people and be like first mate or boat boy. I was just a boat boy, and like that's how you do it. You know, so you get hired. So like when I was I did a lot of sailing when I was a kid, and then when I was 18, I went and I worked on my first big boat, and we sailed from Tortola to Trinidad, and like that was sort of when I started like collecting like my real time.
Okay, I thought like when you were 15 already had the hours, 5,000 hours.
Well, when I was 15, I had a lot, but then like what 18,
they didn't count.
It didn't count. Like you're able to count back to like maybe to when you're 16 or something.
Okay.
So when I was 21, I got my license.
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, and I have another question. Like, is there like example captains? Like you say, like I want to be like him. Like it's like.
Like I want to be like David
like Michael
Guetta.
Jordan,
exactly.
And the captains, like
I think more in like the racing world.
oh,
In the racing
or
world,
fishing world, or something.
They're like celebrity, like not really celebrity, but like the best sailors in the racing world. And then there are some guys that are out there who are doing ocean sailing, like and like because of social media and podcasts and stuff like that. Actually, there is more of that, and people look to people as experts because now we're able to share our knowledge a little bit more. So, and it doesn't mean they're the best sailors, but they're the best at YouTube and Instagram, right?
Or posting there.
So people look up to them and like sort of admire them. Yeah.
Do you have like a mentor, like a captain that teach you everything that you still remember?
Yeah.
Like you
well, like my first, there was one guy who. He was sort of my first boss on a big boat, and he was an English guy, and his name was Tom Batty, and
like Tom Brady, almost like
Tom Brady, not quite as good looking, but he sort of taught me. He taught me how to sail the right way.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You know, like
was
not
he
getting,
like a old school stuff, like?
No, he was like in between. You know, like we never drink while we sail. Actually, I never had a beer.
Not even rum, like sailors, all the time.
Only
those are pirates.
Oh yeah, but they're sailors.
Only because the water was dirty and all they could drink was rum.
Okay.
No, so I never had a beer, any drink while sailing ever until
this weekend.
Until 2 weeks ago. And I got to the boat and they were like, "You want a beer?" And I was like, "Well, I guess I'm not the captain." Okay. And I drank the beer, but like normally for my whole life, I never drank a beer and sailed.
And you felt like it's okay. I mean, I know what I'm doing, so a beer is okay, right?
Well, no, I didn't actually.
No. You felt like guilty about it?
I felt like I don't know if this is okay, but I don't want to be. It's not my boat. I'm not in charge. I'm here to have fun.
Exactly.
And I don't want to be the guy that's like, that's not safe. You know?
And actually, I was gonna ask that too. Like when you are in another boat where you're not the captain, you really enjoy, or you're judging the captain, or you're like,
let's say like you're invited for you go around to see the
well, yeah,
whales.
Good question.
Yeah, like you're like, that's not okay. That's not what I will do.
Yeah,
like,
I don't feel safe right now. You know,
move.
Well,
you take.
Yeah, and it was interesting for this trip because it was really the first time in since I was 21 that it's been the situation. But I felt like in this boat, like Chad was really good about. He was in charge, and it was his responsibility, but he was really good at asking and caring about my perspective.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, he made his decision.
Yeah.
But he would always, like, if I had something to say, I would say it, and he would decide.
Okay.
But he listened, and because he respected me, and he was glad to have my expertise on board.
Totally.
That's why he hired you, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so, but like, there were also times where I was like, okay. 2 of the 4 people on this boat are totally drunk right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drink anymore because if I keep drinking with them, then who's going to keep the boat safe?
Yes, exactly.
And like one night in particular on the trip down, like 2 of the guys were totally drunk.
Yeah.
And Chad and I like stopped drinking. Like, we didn't talk about it, but both of us were like, okay, someone's got to stay awake tonight, and they're clearly not going to.
Yeah, exactly. That's a responsibility.
Yeah, and then we ended up staying up. You know, we split the night. I did half the night, and Chad did half the night, and the other two guys slept all night because they were too drunk.
Wow.
And like I was a little annoyed about it.
Yeah, totally. It's not cool.
No, it's not cool.
I wouldn't do that if you hired me.
Thank you.
So you told us that you have a boat now. Is your first boat? No, it's your second because
this is my second boat, and actually I own two boats now. But this is actually my third boat. The second sailboat, though. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you do that? Like, let's say I'm gonna buy a boat. Like, you decide how big, like. How you did that?
Okay, well, before that, when we are like young, like teenagers, and we have these dreams, I remember I was like, oh, when I grow up and have my job, I'm going to have a boat. Everybody just dreamed with that idea.
No, but I didn't, never.
I did. I was like, I'm going to have a yacht, and I'm like, when I turn 30, like, okay.
Are you going to be singing reggaeton on the yacht?
No, but that was the thing. So then, obviously, you grow up, and then you start paying bills, and then you know that buying a boat is
really expensive.
Out of the like any
regular people.
Like, you have to like harish or like be fucking millionaire. Like, it's not that easy, and also to maintain the boat is the worst part. And then where are you gonna park the boat? And then where you like is a lot of things that nobody comes to. Everybody just see like, oh yeah, I want a boat, but then it's like, okay, it comes with all these
a lot of things. So it's not like an investment. You're losing money.
It's the worst investment ever.
Exactly.
So then you obviously, in your case, when you turn 6, you says, my life is going to be in a boat. So you took that decision when you were super young, and then you obviously part of your objective was like, I'm going to get my boat one time.
Yeah, and when I was 6 years old, so when we got back from vacation, I actually said to my father, I said, I want to start a bank account to save up money for a boat.
Wow.
And back then, maybe you remember this, but banks used to have bank books, and it wasn't like on the computer and you couldn't check it on the internet. You had a little book. It looked like a passport.
Okay.
And then like you put money in the bank, and then they would take your book and they would print on it like a stamp, like sort of your balance. And on the back of it, I wrote with a marker, sailboat.
Oh.
So when I was 6 years old, I started saving up for my first sailboat.
You have that book, right?
Oh, I wish. I wonder if my dad saved it for me.
I
do have my first stuffed animal named Doggy.
Okay.
Doggy.
My dad saved that for me.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he has the book somewhere.
I hope so. That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
But probably that savings account paid for about 1/100th of the sailboat. Sailboats are really expensive.
Yes.
Wow. So then, exactly, you start saving since you were a kid for that boat. And then, like, when did you get to buy it?
Like actually buy your first boat.
My first sailboat that I bought. So I had that first little boat when I was a kid that I got for free. That was fun. And then I bought a really stupid motorboat when I was 16. That was a big mistake. But I was always really good at working. And when I was a little kid, I used to go to all the neighbors' houses and collect their cans on Wednesday mornings.
So you can sell it and...
Yeah, 5 cents for every can. Oh, wow. So that's how I got my money.
That's a lot of money.
And I got so much money from it, the people at the recycle center, they put a limit on how many cans I could bring every week.
They're so envy.
It was so mean. I was like 8 years old at this point. They're like, only $20 a day.
Oh my God.
Excuse me?
Like, and you had your mom at the back of the line with another 20
cans.
Exactly.
Yeah, you bring all the family. Okay, family, this is a team.
20 cans a piece.
I built a business into, then I started walking dogs and,
Yeah.
So I was always really good at saving. I never spent any money, and I always saved. And I didn't, so my first sailboat I bought when I moved to San Francisco, I sailed there from Hawaii, actually.
Wow.
Nice.
A big boat, 136-foot sailboat.
Wow.
And when I got to Sausalito, this little town near San Francisco, it's a cute town. I lived there for 7 years.
Wow. Oh, nice.
By accident. But when I got there, I bought my first boat. It was called Cat's Cradle. I'm allergic to cats. It should have been a sign because it was the worst boat ever.
Okay.
And I thought I was...
Do you keep the name or you change it?
It's bad luck to change it.
Really? So you buy it with the worst name ever and you cannot change it anymore?
Would you have that that boat, you cannot do again this champagne.
Yeah, you could, but
It's
I
bad
didn't. It was bad luck.
Yeah.
I was afraid. There was already so many problems, and
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. So
Okay.
you got it, and you.
so I bought. That was my first boat. I saved, and I was probably. Well, I'm 34 now, so I was like 27, I guess, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was gonna go circumnavigate, sail around the world in
already
that boat.
with that one.
Yeah, didn't work out.
Of course.
And then I sold the boat and started day trading in the stock market with the money from that boat. And then I lost all the money in the stock market.
Oh my God, it was really
Oops.
bad luck. Oh God, no.
Really bad luck. And then saved. And while I was on that one, I had that boat. I also lived in it in a marina in Sausalito.
And you had to pay every month.
Every month, but it was cheaper than rent, but I was really uncomfortable. Like I had no toilet in the boat, but I had a 2-basin sink. So one was for in the kitchen or the galley, and one was for peeing in, and one was for doing the dishes in. It was not a very comfortable life.
So if you get anyone on the boat, like, hey, I'm gonna show you my boat.
No, it never happened. I would never bring somebody back to my boat. Never. It's so embarrassing.
And the person like smells so much fish.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. But the boat, like, there was like a boat, like 6 boats down, and it was a very, like, for the record, it was a very special boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was, in hindsight, looking back, it was too small and too old. But the boat itself was very safe. It was made of steel, which I really wanted. It was so cool.
So the engine part was.
But the engine was broken.
Oh my God! So.
So in hindsight, not such a great idea. But there was a boat that I found that was like a few boats down, and I fell in love with it. And I said, I need to own that boat.
Oh,
And you second orgasm on life.
Yeah, exactly. I loved it. I mean, it was so beautiful, and it was for sale, and for a lot of money, for more money than I could afford.
Okay.
And but I made lots of friends on the dock, and eventually I sold the cat's cradle boat, and I moved into
and people
apartment.
around was like, hey, that's the guy that's pooping on the sea.
Yeah, we all were. But so I fell in love with this boat, but the guy was selling it for way too much money. I didn't have it that much money.
Yeah.
And like a few years later, the neighbors called me and they said, hey, David, this guy Rudy, he co-signed a loan for his sister, and his sister defaulted on the loan, and he needs $30,000 like today, and he'll sell the boat right now if you can give him the money right now, which was less than half of the money. So I was like, okay, and like I got the boat just like that.
Oh my God!
And that brings me to the boat that I have now.
Yeah.
Is the one you have now, actually.
And so I haven't really gone very far in it, and I'm probably going to sell it soon because boats are too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly. Tell us about that. Like, okay, you own the boat, and you
like how much it costs you for
give
a
me a
month?
boat for Christmas. And then what? Like, can I have it in my house? Obviously, park outside, but it's bad for the boat too. It needs to be in the water.
Well, it's huge. It's 40 feet.
Yeah.
Well, let's say that I have room, but it's not good for the boat. Have it parked.
Well, you won't use it if it's parked in your house, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it needs to be in the water, so you can like get on it and go. Because if you need to like have it shipped to the water every time, it's not going to work.
It's not
So
nice.
I pay every month to store it, and then you pay for insurance,
Yes.
and then you pay for maintenance, and then you pay for like underneath it, like all this algae grows on it. So
Yes.
every few months it has to be cleaned.
Okay.
So like for me, probably like $10,000 or $12,000 a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the storage, it's $600 a month, which is still a lot of money.
Yes. It
Like,
is.
and I've been a school teacher for the last 4 years.
Yes.
It's like I'm not rich.
Oh.
You know, I don't have a
Exactly.
trust fund.
Well,
Like,
it depends
teachers are
which
not
kids.
rich.
You have to pick like the right kids.
and so what I did, I moved when I got this new boat, the bigger boat. I moved onto it and lived on it, which saved me some money actually. So then I could rationalize. Like, oh, it's not so bad that I own a boat and spend all this money because instead of paying rent in San Francisco Bay is very expensive.
Yes.
Instead of that, I can live in the boat. And it
Live
was
in the boat.
fine.
Yeah.
Now I have an apartment and 2 boats. And,
Oh my God.
And no job.
Okay.
Well,
But still, you can go sail whenever you want and you feel home, right? And you
Exactly.
feel the breeze.
do you pay money to go out and sail or not? It's for free.
Yeah, that's
Ocean
free.
is
That's the one part that's free. The ocean's for free. It's like surfing, you know?
Okay.
The wave is free.
Ah,
So, but you need a permit. You have like to have your license. Like, is there these like police?
You have to tell
ocean?
someone that you're going out from the
No,
marina?
no, you can basically do whatever you want.
Okay.
Like sometimes the Coast Guard will stop you and make sure that everything's safe on the boat.
Like, hey, you're speeding right here, man.
Yeah, there is crashes.
Yeah, it's true. If you're going too fast in the wrong place,
I shouldn't sail a boat then.
I drove with you. You were pretty safe.
Yeah.
I've been in some cars in Mexico over the past week, and you are by far the best Mexican driver I have met.
Yeah. I'm not Mexican, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Argentinian.
Okay, so I have a question for you. And
another one. At 102.
That's pretty good considering we had no questions to start. That's a lot of questions.
I had. What's the best port that you stopped at?
Oh my gosh. No question about it. Isla Robinson Crusoe. And so at the storm I told everyone
about. What is it at?
Isla Robinson Crusoe. It's 400 miles off the coast of Chile. Okay. And so on right after the storm that I told you about in that story, after the storm, like the storm finally stopped. And actually what happened was really scary. We were sailing and the storm had stopped, but the waves were still really big. And me and Francis were sitting on the back deck, sort of looking like there's no more rain or wind, but the waves were huge, like massive, like a skyscraper.
Oh my God.
And so we were sitting in the back deck just like watching one after the other, and it was sunset. And as soon as the sun went down, we saw these flares shooting up in the air. And it was another boat that was like in trouble.
Oh my God.
And like...
You have to go and help.
We tried, but like the wind was down, but the waves were so big, and so we started like search and rescue. You know, like doing back and forth.
Were you using radios and
trying radios, trying everything?
Still, you were really far from the coast. So.
Still 400 miles. No, at this point we were like 600 miles from the coast. Okay. And back and forth, looking everywhere for this boat, spotlights and radio, and for hours and hours. And then at one point, the waves were so big, but luckily we were sailing with them originally. Yeah. But then and then we realized, okay, we must have passed them. And we tried to go back, and the waves were so big, it knocked our boat over, completely over. And it was really dangerous. And at that point, as a captain, you had to make a really hard decision. And say,
do you want to help them or do you want to save us?
Exactly. And I had to make like the hardest decision of my life. And that night, like when I made the decision, all of us, like at some point that night, and a lot of the night, like cried about it because it was like we were those people's hope and like their prayers, and we had to make the decision to move on.
Oh God.
But it was horrible.
Yeah.
But at that time, I looked at the chart and saw like, okay, there are these islands like 200 miles away. I'm going to go to these islands, and I don't know anything about these islands, if there's people there or anything, but I'm going to go there and tell them what we saw and see if we could get somebody to go help. Like that was in a motorboat or something. Yeah. Also, our engine was broken. So we couldn't motor. We could only sail. So that's why we couldn't like keep looking and keep going back. We had no motor.
Oh my God.
So I was like, okay, we're gonna go to these islands, Isla Robinson Crusoe, and so we sailed there.
This was morning, night.
So this was like this all happened at night, and then it was like a one-day sail.
Always the worst time. Everything is at night, darkness.
But
sharks.
It was like everything, though. It was like God was with us. Like the wind was perfect to push us right to these islands.
Okay.
And we sailed for like 24 hours to these islands. And as we got closer, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God. These like tall cliffs, like green, like vegetation, trees, palm trees at the top of cliffs, and like it was so beautiful.
On the top of cliffs.
I've never seen anything like it. And then we come around the corner. Still, we don't see any people. We don't see anything.
Yes.
And then we get like stuck in a lobster trap.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, we're stuck in a lobster trap, and that sucks.
We're hungry.
But that means there are people here.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So we come like around the backside of the island, and then we see this little fishing village.
Okay.
And we go in, and I know we don't have that much time, but we go in, and it's the most beautiful island. You can smell it. Like I've never smelled anything like it. It was like 1 million perfumes in one. Like,
oh my God.
It was so beautiful.
Like the movie of The Life of Pi, right?
The Life of Pi, yes. It was very much like The Life of Pi. It was incredible. And like, so we tried to get help for those people, and we never found out what happened to them, but we got stuck in this island for 10 days.
Wow.
And you said, oh, we forgot the people that we wanted to help.
No, we tried the whole time. I swear.
Well, I hope they survive. You never know.
I hope so, too. I think they're probably fishermen or something.
Okay.
And, But this island, Isla Robinson Crusoe, it was a magic island. And I've never been anywhere like it.
And it was obviously, I believe you that it was beautiful, but it was not also like that. It was like after you almost die.
Well, a little bit of that. Yeah, for sure, a little bit of that.
The paradise.
But it was very special. Like a boat from the mainland Chile, came once a month to drop off things for them.
Yeah, like food and.
Yeah, so like it was very isolated, and the people there, it was like real community, and like everyone rode horses, and everybody had gardens in their backyard.
They had a lot of wife, and they all dated the same guy.
There was 600 people on the island, and they had like a teeny little they had like a club that they built a tent, and that was their club.
Wow,
and, like,
that's so cool.
It was
also
cool.
the police station.
They had one teeny little hotel there that had no people in it, and like the restaurants were all people's houses.
Imagine them like a small, everything like tiny house.
Everything's what it was, yeah.
I want to go there now.
And we had basically like nothing left. Like we had like no food, but the ocean had so many fish in it. If we ever were hungry, we would just put a hook in the water, and it was 3 guys, me and 2 other guys. We catch 1 fish for each of us like that.
Wow.
And so we just ate fish 3 times a day.
Wow.
And then eventually we ran out of wine. So we don't drink while we're sailing, but while we're anchored, you drink. So we sold all our fishing gear to the local people, and then we bought wine with the money.
And then they sell fish to you.
And then they sell fish to us.
Wow.
But we made friends. I'm so friends with some of the people from the island. It was so beautiful, so special.
That's really nice.
Talking about those islands, have you been in Isla Cocos, like in Costa Rica? The one that is like for Jurassic Park, like.
Oh, no.
No,
is that on the west coast or the east coast?
Like in front of Costa Rica. What will be that?
In the Caribbean Sea, probably. On the east coast.
No, Pacific.
On the same side as where we are? Okay. Yeah, Pacific side.
It's on that way. And that. I mean, I remember when I went to Costa Rica, we like read things or where to go, and it seems like that one is like you have to like put on a list and blah blah blah, and it's super protected. Because it's like all this is special, and it's where they in Jurassic Park, like some of when they're in a helicopter and you see this beautiful island, is that one. It's like Cocos,
cool.
And it's like they just have a study there where they're like doing a lot of like research of anything about the island, but it's protected and nobody that haven't any business there can go there. But it's super cool. So I just wondered, since you've been in all these amazing places,
I thought Jurassic Park was all digital, like no.
That actually, it was just they fly around, but they could not land.
The dinosaurs were probably digital.
Because nobody wants you to see those dinosaurs.
Maybe they don't want you to stop at that island because they have actually dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's the point.
That would be cool.
I mean, that's the whole point. Is a Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay out. This is where we keep all the dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Humans are going to destroy that.
Okay. To be closing, David, you said that you have podcasts. Tell us about your 3 podcasts and where people can find you.
Okay, well, I've made 3 podcasts. The only one that's still up is a children's story podcast.
I'm so happy for
and
that.
I want to hear that one.
It's so bad and so good. That's where you can hear me sing to small children. It was really fun. I actually made it because I was a teacher, and when COVID happened, we had to not be in school anymore. But I had, really close relationships with my students, of course. So I made this podcast to stay connected to them a little bit, and then realize also I'll just make it for every child because every child is stuck at home.
And your students were excited too.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's called Captain Kindergarten, and you can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or everywhere.
Cool. Captain Kindergarten.
Captain Kindergarten or CaptainKindergarten.com. Also, you can listen to it there.
Super cool.
And it's so much fun. And so the story is that like I never meant to be a teacher, or never really was interested in working with children. So the story is sort of funny. It's about a captain who ends up stuck on a boat by accident with 24 kindergartners.
Oh my
and
God.
the anchor breaks and they get drifted out to sea, and the whole time they're trying to get home.
Wow.
And the captain like hates the children and he doesn't want them there, and they're so annoying, but then slowly he starts to fall in love with them and take care of them. And
that's super cool. So have you think about actually like that? Don't you think it's a good idea to teach kids like in a sailboat, obviously in not outside in the ocean, like there, like, oh, come to the class in the boat.
Like you were doing on your sailing camp.
Well, I did that. So for 1 year I ran a big sailboat, and it was an educational
done that. Name it.
But yes, what I want to do, like my dream in life is to start a high school program, a semester-based high school program on a sailboat.
Okay.
So where high schoolers, like 16, 17, 18-year-olds come for like 4 months, and they live and work on the boat, and they're responsible for everything.
But you accept over 30?
Yeah, you can come work though.
Okay.
You can be the teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Done.
But like
So
it's
you have
all
nothing
about
to
like
learn.
it's all about learning real life though.
Yeah.
So you learn math
Surviving.
through like navigation, and you learn science through the ocean.
Yes.
Actually, that was another question, teacher. Did you get? Is really true that you get guided by the stars? Is that a thing?
And celestial navigation is so complicated. Long answer, yes. A short answer, yes. Long answer, it's not easy.
Because GPS is not working in the middle of the sea.
No, it does.
Really?
Yeah, GPS works everywhere because
really?
it's satellites.
Satellites.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in case it goes out, in case it breaks, not like the satellites won't break, but like your boat could break. Your batteries or something, and then you lose it. So it's good to know how to do. I learned how to do it once, and I never did it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's
Because
really complicated.
It's really complicated math, and then you need like a special, like I'm sure like the Polynesians do it in a different way.
Oh,
But
yes.
for us, you have the sextant. It's like a tool, and you measure angles in the sky.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have a book, and every year you need a new book, and then the math is very complicated.
Because
Oh
it's
my God.
changing.
Yeah, because the sky is always changing. So the
Yeah.
book has all these calculations for you and all these numbers based on the stars and the horizon.
Oh my
and
God.
it's too smart for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like another, like, it's
Another
just for,
level.
like,
Yes.
Aristoteles and like,
All those guys. The Mayas did the star reading, no?
yeah.
Yeah, the Mayans, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They were genius. Not
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Mexican.
Yeah, por supuesto.
We created quinceañeras.
Genius. In Argentina or Mexico?
No, Mexico.
Well, she-
What do you
Maya
mean we? You're not Mexican. It's not we.
I am the one.
You created steak. You
We-
created quinceañera.
Yeah, we created
We
quinceañera.
Latin
And tacos.
Americans.
You created barbecue.
No,
Actually,
you.
yesterday we sailed with a guy from Argentina.
Oh,
And I was like,
really?
oh, I wish Jess was here.
Oh, pain in the ass.
We talked about Castellano and Spanish.
Of course, you took out all your Spanish
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
table.
Oh, well, okay.
Okay.
So you
Do you-
wanna,
I don't know.
I mean, we can continue for 3 hours. But
I have no more questions, but do you want to share your social media, or you don't want people to find you?
You can try to find me.
Okay.
My social media is Instagram at Captain Davey, C-A-P, not Captain, C-A-P-T, like
Okay.
short for Captain,
Okay.
D-A-V-E-Y.
Okay, we will post it.
And it's private though, so
Yeah.
if you request, maybe I'll let you in. Maybe.
But maybe
Maybe not,
someone wants you to sail a boat.
Oh yeah, sure. You can reach me there, or you
Okay.
can reach me through Jess has my number, my WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
Like, hey, Jessica, I
Yeah.
really want to sail a boat.
Like no one ever texts me, and they will text me to reach David.
Or maybe you just think I'm so cool, you just want to say hi.
Exactly.
No, yes,
Anyway,
that's for sure. Also.
But you can find his podcast if you want to
well,
listen.
I mean, yeah, David, this was very interesting. I want more stories.
Uh-huh.
It was very cool. It was
I'll have to
tell me
come back
more,
to
tell me
Cabo.
more. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do
Actually,
another.
what do you think about that? Like, now that San Francisco is so close.
Yeah.
My life over the past week in Cabo has been better than, well, I mean, just in general, it's amazing, but it's really depressing at home.
Yeah.
In Cabo, like everybody here takes COVID very seriously. When you
Yes.
walk into the restaurants, temperature, sanitizer even sprays you, the
Yes.
machines,
Uh-huh.
more than in California.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, people are relaxed and like
Yes.
I'm able to make new friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where like in California, it's just like
no contact,
socializing, no contact. Everybody lives in fear. Where here it's like we care, but we're not scared.
I mean,
and it's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Because
we're not scared.
it's not irresponsible. There's care and there's precaution.
Yeah.
And like, you know, but it's not crazy. You know, it's so much more healthy here right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you should consider. I mean, right now you have to go back because you have to sail the boat, but then take a flight.
I will come back. I will be back. I love San Jose del Cabo. I love El Gonzo Hotel. I'll plug El Gonzo. El Gonzo's my favorite.
Yeah,
it's really affordable and fun.
Have you been there when there's concerts? They do all these concerts.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I really like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember, guys, that you can see this video in YouTube. It's so much fun looking at the video. Like, let me tell you.
We dance while we talk and all that.
And all that. And you can find us in Instagram.
Jessica normally is naked in all the podcasts.
Yeah. If you haven't seen like YouTube videos, you should go right now. Yeah. I only have a captain hat on.
Yeah.
You're the real captain.
Yes.
Okay. The podcast.
And we are on Instagram with as a podcast.chewe. Yes. Yeah, you can find us there. And thank you very much, Debbie, for taking your time to come here.
Thank you for inviting me. What a cool experience. I was so nervous. He was like, come do this. You want to come do this? I was like, no, I don't. That sounds horrible. That's so scary.
I don't know you.
I don't speak Spanish. I just met you at the club.
And I said, well, we're going to have Prosecco. Do you want to come?
Okay.
Exactly. As soon as we offer champagne, everything changed.
It's always better to say yes in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Always say yes. Always say yes.
No,
you don't know what's going to happen, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, depends.
Except drugs, no.
Think about your decisions.
If you are young.
Yeah, exactly. If you're under 18. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next Thursday. Remember that we post our new episode on Thursdays.
Yes. Muchas gracias, David. Salud.
Gracias.
Salud.
Bye.
Vamos a seguir practicando español. Bye bye.